Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. My name is MCat. I also go by Emily, and I am coming at you today with another Book Box Showdown vlog. I recently, actually yesterday, got the notification that my hold for the audio of The Everlasting by Alex Harrow came in, and I waited a really long time for this. So we're going to listen to it as soon as possible, probably tomorrow, and read this. So there isn't like an official theme for the books that I'm reading in this vlog, but my mom did tell me that The Everlasting and Lady Macbeth both have to do with like knights or medieval times, that kind of stuff, and neither of us have read Foul Days, but that is one that I can get the audiobook for like right now. So this is the other one that I'm going to read, and it's giving similar vibes plot-wise, like it's about witches and stuff like that, and it's based on Slavic folklore, so it's not technically in the same vein as these two, but it's like similar vibes. So this is going to be the TBR for this video. I don't currently have any updates because I haven't started any of them, so this is it. This is a very quick intro. I will see you again when I have started one of them. I have already started The Everlasting by Alex Harrow. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. I'm currently 30% of the way in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't think I'm enjoying it quite as much as I liked The Once and Future Witches, but this is definitely in second place for the time being. I did like Starling House quite a bit, and I did not love the 10,000 Doors of January. I liked the concept of the 10,000 Doors of January, but I didn't like the execution. So right now this is in number 2. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the book. So this focuses on 2 people. We have Sir Una the Everlasting, who is kind of like a King Arthur knight situation. She was a knight in, I don't know what year, but a long time ago, and there are all these stories written about her. So she is like not an urban legend, she's like a, I don't know what to call her. She's not an urban legend. She's too old for that. She has all of these stories written about her. She has songs written about her, and then our other character, who I don't know if we ever get the name of. Let me double check. Owen. His name is Owen. Owen, the historian, is our other main character, and we are getting this story primarily from his point of view. The book starts out with a story about Sir Una and how she became Sir Una, and then the next chapter after that is Owen, from Owen's point of view, and he spends a lot of this first 30% going through his childhood and his life, telling us how he came to be in this predicament that he's in, which I'll tell you about in just a second. But he is of the opinion that Sir Una has always been like the reason he's alive. Like, she is, that's maybe not right. Sir Una keeps showing up in his life. So he has an alcoholic father, and he decides when he's like 8 years old that his father embarrasses him too much and he wants a better life for himself. So he goes off and becomes, I think he becomes a student. It's unclear. But he ends up going to school for history, and then his father is very anti-war. I'm thinking that this is like World War I or World War II time frame, and Owen sees Sir Una in all of these situations. Like, Sir Una always pops up in some kind of art in these situations for him, and so he ends up joining the military because Sir Una pops up at a certain point in his life, and he thinks that joining the military will get him closer to Sir Una. And he later realizes that war maybe isn't for him, and he ends up going back to school and becoming a historian again. And one of his professors at this school, I'm not really sure of the mechanics of this, but she sends him back in time. And she says something about how she needs him. And later on, a few chapters later, he realizes that she said that because he needs to make sure that Sir Una, her story actually happens. Because when he finds Sir Una after going back in time, Sir Una is like ready to commit suicide. She is ready to be done with her life. She is so upset about the way her life has turned out, and she hates everything about it. And he realizes through seeing this that he needs to help her. He needs to make sure that the stories he loves and knows so much about actually end up happening. And so he is following her and encouraging her and telling her certain things about what happens in her future to encourage her. And that's the majority of it. I can't help but get the feeling, based on some of the things that he has said in his brain, because we're from his point of view, that he maybe is hiding things from Sir Una, but I'm not sure what. I don't know what he would be hiding, because like we all know that she dies, she knows that she dies. She wanted to die at some point, so I'm just a little bit confused about what he's hiding from her. So that is where I'm at with this right now. I think I am going to try and listen to another hour or two of this while I play video games tonight, and then I might finish it tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how much time I have to listen to books. But yeah, this is the first one. I think I've shown you this edition. I really like it. I think that's like a pin. It kind of looks like a carrot. And then the sword. Oh, it is a pin. So this is Sir Una's sword, and then this is Owen's pin. And this is the inside of the dust jacket. We have Sir Una on the front, and then Owen on the back. And then I really like the spine. I like the color of it a lot, and then the foil with the words. And then this naked hardcover is incredible. Look at all of the foiling and the details. This is Sir Una. And then I'm not sure. Oh, this is the dragon. So one of the things that he encourages her to do is kill this dragon, who is the last dragon in the world, I think, or in their region. I can't remember what they call their region, but that's the dragon. And then the end papers. Owen and Sir Una on her horse. And then I don't believe we've gotten to this point in the story yet, so I don't know what this scene is showing you. Yeah, so that's the first book. And then I'm going to be reading probably Lady Macbeth next, and then Foul Days will end out the vlog. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go do a run and take a shower and then play some video games for the rest of the evening, so I will see you probably tomorrow or maybe the next day. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how tomorrow goes.
Over here, which there is a cemetery, as Cohen pointed out, and there's also some walking trails too. There's definitely a little bit to explore, and I'm excited to see it.
I didn't expect this, but this ended up being probably my best book of the year. I left off at about the 30% mark last night, I think, when I was talking to you. And at that point, I didn't actually know what was going on. Things changed a lot after that point. So when I talked to you last night, he had gone back in time and was following around Sir Una. And that is like the primary plot, but it changes drastically after this. So this book has sections. Let me see if it has a table of contents. Okay, so I did not notice this, but the first section is called The First Death of Una Everlasting. That didn't mean anything to me at that point. I just breezed over it, didn't pay any attention to it. And then, literally right where I left off last night, she dies. Like, I turned it on today to listen, and she was dead within 5 minutes. And then the next part, called The Second Death of Una Everlasting, starts. And in total, there are 4. So, if you don't want to be spoiled at all, and honestly I kind of think you shouldn't be because it blew me away when I figured out what was happening, skip ahead, because I'm about to tell you why they're labeled that way, and I think your enjoyment might go down if you know that this is coming. So this is only for people who have read the book. After that point, she dies, and you find out that this woman who sent him back in time has also been going back in time, and she's impersonating the queen that Una is working for. But that's not it. She's impersonating the queen, but there's so much else going on in the background, and so many things that have happened that you figure out as you go throughout the book. This book reminds me a lot of, what's that book called? The Unmaking of June Farrow, where she's like going back in time multiple times, and that's happening in this book too. So he goes back in time multiple times. He keeps getting sent back in time because this woman is using Sir Una to like create her power in the future. And as we find out later on, she manufactured this whole thing from the very beginning. She ends up being Una's mom, which I didn't see coming. I knew that they were connected somehow, and like Una's mom was a mystery the whole time, but you don't know that until the very end. And it kept me guessing the whole time. And where I thought The Unmaking of June Farrow kind of dragged a little bit, I did like that book, but I didn't give it 5 stars because it dragged so much. It took me so long to finish it, and I wasn't grabbed. My attention wasn't grabbed by that book nearly as much as The Everlasting was. So this one did what I wanted that one to do. I think this is tied for my top Alex C. Harrow book. Yeah, it's tied. Like, I need to go back and reread The Once and Future Witches to be positive of what my ranking is, but these two are definitely the top 2. Like, everything else doesn't compare to this. And I am so happy that I finally read this book. I'm annoyed that I waited this long to read this book, because I think this came out earlier this year, maybe like January or something. I'm angry. I'm done leaving Alex C. Harrow books to sit on my shelf for months at a time. Anyways, that's that. I guess I can tell you more of the plot. So he keeps going back in time. He keeps getting sent back repeatedly because every time at the beginning that he gets sent back to present day, he forgets what he did with Una. Like, it resets his memory as when he goes back to his actual time. And if she gets sent back to her time... No, I'm not going to say that. I don't know what I was trying to say. So every time he gets sent back to his time, like after he was originally sent back to her time, he forgets almost everything. Like, he has a feeling that something happened, and every time he gets sent back, he says something like, I feel like we've met before, I feel like we've done this before, and they know that something's going on, but they can't remember everything that's happened. And eventually, they end up going on the run together. So he goes back, and he and Una steal the book from the queen lady, and they hide and end up having a family and falling in love. And it was just incredible. I love this book so much. This is an easy 5 stars. It's a definite keep. Next up, I think my loan for Foul Days expires next, my audiobook. So this will probably be the next one, but I am taking a short break to read this because this one returns in less time than everything else. So this won't be in the vlog. This is a reread. So you'll see me in a few days after I finish that and pick up Foul Days. Hello and welcome back. I have started a new book. I started Foul Days. I started it technically 2 days ago, but I really only listened to like 10 minutes of it before I had to quit for the day, and I listened to the majority of what I listened to yesterday. And I'm about to go listen to more of it. So, I am, if I remember correctly, where I checked last time I looked at Libby, I'm about 25% of the way through this book. So, I have some plot points to give you. I know that I read the plot of this to you, but when I started listening to it, none of it was anything that I expected. So I'm going to reread this. This seems a little bit more detailed than the plot that I read on Storygraph, so maybe this will give you better information. It says, as a witch in the walled city of Chernograd, Kosara has plenty of practice treating leg and throat bites, bargaining with kikimoras, and slaying blood-sucking oopers. Those are all monsters. So there's only one monster she can't defeat, her ex, the Zmei, known as the Tsar of Monsters. She's defied him one too many times and now he's hunting her. Betrayed by someone close to her, Kasara's only choice is to trade her shadow, the source of her powers, for a quick escape. She is a witch. Oh, it does say she's a witch at the beginning. Sorry, that was stupid. So this shadow, her shadow is the source of her witchy powers. Unfortunately, Kasara soon develops the deadly sickness that plagued shadowless witches, and only reclaiming her magic can cure her. To find it, she's forced to team up with a suspiciously honorable detective. Even worse, all the clues point in a single direction. To get her shadow back, Kasara will have to face the Foul Days' biggest threats without it, and she's only got 12 days. So the Foul Days start on New Year's Day, I think, like at midnight, and it goes for 12 days, and that is a time period in Chernograd where the monsters roam freely, and everybody holes up in protected spaces and tries their best to stay out of the monsters' way. So the last part of this says, but in a city where everyone is out for themselves, who can Kasara trust to assist her in outwitting the biggest monster from her past? So what this synopsis doesn't say is that she trades her shadow to this stranger that she is playing cards with in the place that she has decided to hole up against the monsters. And this monster, the Tsar, the one that's coming after her, finds her in this pub and he's trying to convince everybody to let him in, and one specific person, the pub owner, decides to turn on her and basically says, you either get out or we let him in. And everyone else is trying to say, no, we need her because she's a witch, she's who's going to protect us, right? And he's like, you gotta get out. And this stranger, who in the first chapter acts like he has absolutely zero idea what's going on, he has no idea what these monsters are, according to him. I'm not so sure that I believe him anymore, but he offers, when things are escalating and people are about to start fighting to get her to leave, he offers to transport her safely to a different city, which is not named in there, but it's like a gentrified city. I'll get to that in just a second after I explain the shadows. So he says, I'll take you away and save you, but only if you give me your shadow. And the reason I don't necessarily believe that he doesn't know what's going on is because he takes her shadow, and it becomes apparent that he is trading witches' shadows in this new city that she gets transported to. So she gets transported to the city, and apparently the officials of the city have built a big wall around Chernograd. They're the reason that the wall exists. They don't want people from Chernograd coming in, and it's like a quarantine situation, so once somebody from Chernograd comes in, they have to register themselves and they get quarantined to make sure that they are not contaminated and aren't going to contaminate other people in the city. And there's like a big difference in what they wear. So in Chernograd, everything is very drab, very dark, very boring. In their words, they call it boring. And in this new city, everything is very colorful. And this witch, Kasara, is thinking to herself, why do they get all of the colorful stuff? Like, they're the ones supplying us with clothing and supplies and food. Why do they get all of this stuff and we don't? And that's a big theme throughout the part that I've listened to so far. And she goes on this wild goose chase. She's trying to figure out how to find this stranger because he transports her there and then immediately disappears. So she is lost in the city that she's never been to. And she finds people from her past, and this person owes her a lot of money, so she's trying to blackmail him into either giving her the money or helping her find this stranger. And she ends up getting caught by the police because she breaks into this witch's store because the witch refuses to sell anything to her, and she thinks that this witch has the address for this stranger, so she breaks in after hours and gets caught. And that's about where I left off. So I am enjoying this quite a bit more than I thought I would. This author is from Bulgaria. So I'm not sure if these cities are like Bulgarian cities or if they're somewhere else. I need to look that up. Or if they're even real cities at all. But I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I don't know, does this author have anything else? It says that she's a fantasy author, but it doesn't tell me if she has any other books. Okay, here we go. The Witch's Compendium of Monsters, Foul Days, and Monstrous Nights, coming October 2024. So I'll have to look and see if the sequel is out already, because I guess this is part of The Witch's Compendium of Monsters. Is that like metallic? No, it's just reflective in the light. So this is book 1 of The Witch's Compendium of Monsters. I did not know that this was part of a series. Can I rant for a second? I'm getting a little sick of so many of these books that I get from the book boxes being the first book in a series. Like, I get it, it's a good business ploy. Then if you like the first one, they can get you to buy the rest of the series and special editions. I just wish less of these were series, because it feels like almost every single one I've been reading is the first in a series, and a lot of times I'm not continuing. So yeah, that's it. That's the update. I'm gonna go listen to some more and do whatever I want for the rest of the day. It's about 4 p.m. I need to cook dinner soon and go feed the dogs that we're taking care of soon too. So yeah, I don't know if you'll see me again today. It might be tomorrow, the next time I check in. Got a pigeon and a squirrel. They were fighting just a minute ago. Oh, there he goes. So I'm almost done with Foul Days, and I just have some thoughts that I want to say before I forget them. Also, pardon the new background. We're house sitting, and I have just fed the dogs. Anyways, this book, I was really liking it, and I still am liking it. I like the Slavic folklore aspect of it. However, they're trying to convince me that this Tsar of the Monsters is the big bad. And these are spoilers for pretty late in the book, so skip this part if you don't want to be spoiled at all. This guy was romantically involved with Kosara, right? Kosara is our main character. His name is Esme. Kosara is the main character. And then there's this officer guy who she has been working with. So she got arrested. That's where I left off with my last update, right? That was like 25% of the way in, and now I've read over half. I've read like 80 to 90% of the book. So she got arrested, and it turns out that this officer is also looking for the person who stole her shadow. So he tells her to stay put. She doesn't listen. And they end up working together, and that's what the majority of the book has been. But this entire time, they've been trying to convince me that this Esme guy is the big bad. And he has done some awful things. But the thing that they are angry with him for right now, I just don't see the proof of in the book. So she is claiming, and I don't want to sound like I'm victim blaming when I say this, because maybe Esme was tricking me. Okay, so I'm trying to suspend my disbelief. I'll just preface what I'm going to say with that. So she has claimed that Esme mistreated her, and based on his history with women, that is believable. He apparently takes a new human bride almost every year, and he feeds off of their love. And he takes their love for like their friends and their family away first, and then he feeds off of their love for him, and eventually they end up dying because he has taken so much of their love from them. Well, Kosara was engaged to him. I don't really understand how that happened, but she escaped, and she says that he tore her down the entire time. He made her think she wasn't capable. He made her think that she was a bad witch and she was very weak. And based on what he just said to her in one of these last chapters, I don't know that that was true. Based on what he's been saying, it sounds like Kosara was maybe putting that on herself. Like, those were her inner thoughts about herself, and she just assumed that this guy thinks the same thing. Because okay, I missed a part. She and this officer guy have gone to his castle for his party during the Foul Days. She ends up back in Chernograd, I think, the place where the story started. She finds a way back. The officer follows her. And she finds a way to Esme's party. He has a yearly party every year. He invites all the spirits, including her house spirits. And there are a lot of things that I don't really understand why they needed to happen the way that they happened, but I'm not clear if it's because I'm listening too fast and I'm missing things, or I'm not paying enough attention, or if the writing is just confusing. I'm not positive. But she says that her spirits get invitations every year. But then instead of just asking one of her spirits for their invitation, because they're going to go and impersonate a house spirit anyways, her house has like 5 spirits. A fireplace spirit, a kitchen spirit, a bathroom spirit, that kind of thing. I don't remember the specifics about them, but she has all of these spirits. And she says something about taking one of their invitations, but then they don't do that. Then they go and con an invitation out of these aggressive spirits somewhere else. And I'm not sure why that happened. It was not clear to me why they decided to do that instead of just asking one of her spirits. I think maybe the spirits, her house spirits, are not supposed to talk to her, or that could dissipate their existence or something like that. Very unclear. And they get an invitation. They sneak their way into his party. He finds them out. And oh, there was another thing that I didn't tell you. Her friend Roxana is in cahoots with this man. She shows up earlier on. I think I mentioned her. She shows up at the engagement party that Kasara goes to for her old friend. And then she shows up again. And no, she doesn't show up again when they go back. When they go back, they end up breaking into her house because they're convinced that she knows something about what's going on, and it turns out she does because she's in cahoots with Esme. But anyways, they go to his party. He finds them out. And now he is trying to strike a deal with Kasara. He says he'll let her go and give her her shadow back because he now has her shadow. But only if she helps him destroy the wall that's separating the two cities. Remember earlier on how I told you there was a wall separating them, and they were talking about all of the different class differences and how the people on the other side of the wall were keeping the people where Kasara's from out? Well, it turns out that the wall was only supposed to keep the monsters out, and it was supposed to allow humans to travel freely back and forth. But the people on the other side haven't bothered to figure out what went wrong and why the spell isn't doing that. So Esme thinks that Kosara is going to help him destroy the wall. And when he's talking to her about this and sending her on her way to find the spell that they need to do it and teach him how to do it, he's telling her all of these things about how good of a witch she could have been, how strong she could have been if she had just tried a little harder. And based on that, it makes me think that maybe he wasn't as abusive as they made him out to be, but maybe he's just hiding it. Maybe he's trying to be really sweet and thoughtful to make her sweet and thoughtful is not the right description. Maybe he's trying to be very nice and encouraging so that Kosara thinks that she can handle this and actually helps him. Well, she goes on her way. She's not going to do what he thinks she's going to do. She is going to rework the spell so that Esme is in the wall, because originally he was supposed to be the person that was stuck in the wall, but he wasn't around. So they ended up putting his sister in the wall instead. And he misses her dearly. And that's part of why he wants the wall destroyed. But it seems like Kosara is going to do a little switcheroo when she helps him and put him in the wall. So that's where we're at. I still think I like this book, and actually talking through it here made me understand some of the things that I've been confused about. And I am now seeing that I was got by Esme. What I said about him probably faking it, I think that's what's happening. I think he was maybe as awful as they made him out to be when they were originally together. And now he is trying to fake it and be sweet and convince her to help him. So I'm going to go and finish this book. You will probably see me one last time with this book tonight. I think I have like 30 minutes or so left. I am going to go home and take a shower and hang out until my husband is ready to come back over here for the evening. Today is his birthday, and I usually make him dinner, but he wants Philly cheesesteaks, and I do not know how to cook steak. So he's going to teach me how he liked steak cooked tonight instead of me cooking for him. So I need to go home so that we can have dinner because I'm kind of hungry. And then we will come back over here. And I will likely have finished the book well before we come back over here. So I'll have one more update. And then you probably won't see me for a few more days because I need to switch gears a little bit and listen to Monsoon Rising, the buddy read that my mom and I are doing. I read the first one. I have the Fairy Loot edition of it, and I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't get the second one because I hadn't read the first one yet. So I didn't know that I really enjoyed it. But that audiobook is the next one that will return. So I need to read that. And then I also need to read the galley of the third one that I have. That was part of the reason we picked this as our buddy read, because I somehow got approved for the galley of the third book, which I don't know the title of. And yeah. So I'm going to switch gears, and then the last thing we're going to read is Lady Macbeth. So hopefully by the end of the week, this vlog will be done. Maybe I can post it next weekend. We'll have to wait and see. Or no, it'll be the weekend after. I already have next weekend's video done. It is my Herkyed 24-hour readathon vlog. So by the time you're seeing this, you should have already seen that. I hope you enjoyed that. I had fun reading all of those things. But that's it. I'm actually going to go now. I'm very hungry. I need to go home for a little bit. But yeah. That's my thoughts so far. I'm just popping in to say that I finished Foul Days and it was what I expected. My thoughts haven't changed very much. I still liked it quite a bit, but it felt like something was missing, so I'm going to settle on 4 stars, and for the time being, I will be keeping it. That's the update. Hello. It is Sunday evening, and I started Lady Macbeth yesterday. You might actually just sit with it here to block out the light. I can't tell you a lot yet because I've only listened to about an hour, so not that much has happened yet. But for what I have listened to, what I understand is happening is this woman, whose name I cannot remember right now, she is forced to marry this, I don't know if he's a king or if he has a different title, but I believe he is in Scotland, and she is being forced to marry him. She brings like her handmaiden with her and everything. I'm not positive where she's from. I think it might be England. Who knows? But she's getting married. They get married. And then the last thing I remember is it was the morning after the wedding. Nothing happened, by the way. She asked him for a ruby necklace as like their wedding gift. And then after that, he said, oh, it would make you more beautiful. And then he left the room. So nothing happened. And I'm sure there's more that I'm missing that happened before that, but that's all that stuck in my brain after listening to it yesterday. And she wakes up the next morning to find out that her handmaiden has been sent away because the women in this country take care of themselves, according to the man that tells her her handmaiden is taken away. I can't remember his name either or what role he plays. I think he might be like her new brother-in-law. I can't remember for sure. But they get married. And the next morning, she is rudely awoken and told that she is expected to rise when he rises so that they can breakfast together. And then I think he is like planning somebody's murder or something. I can't remember for sure. I will come back after I have listened to more of this, probably tomorrow, and fill you in on what I forgot. But that's it. I don't know. I think this is maybe supposed to be like a retelling of Macbeth. I couldn't tell you anything about that. It says a reimagining of Lady Macbeth, Shakespeare's most famous villainess, giving her a voice, a past, and a power that transforms the story men have written for her. So it sounds like something I should love, but I have not read Macbeth, so I cannot compare this rendition of Lady Macbeth to the original. Maybe I'll read Macbeth after this, or get like a Cliff Notes version of it. Anyways, I am going to go and eat my cherries for dessert, and probably read Jade Legacy, so I won't have another update for this until after work tomorrow. Hello and welcome back. We have finished the last book for this vlog, Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. This is the second book by Ava Reid that I have read, and it will unfortunately likely be the last. I didn't hate this one, which is an improvement from the other one that I read. The other one I read was A Study in Drowning, I think is what it's called, and I was very excited for that one. I was really bummed because I think I either skipped or I didn't get off the wait list of the Owlcrate. I didn't get off the Owlcrate wait list in time to get that one, and I thought it was going to be like my first one, and then it wasn't, and I was really disappointed about it. But then I got the ebook and I read it and I hated it, so I'm not that upset about it anymore. Anyways, back to Lady Macbeth. The last thing that I told you, I believe, was that this woman, whose name I still can't remember after finishing the book, if that tells you anything about how much I enjoyed it. And it does not tell me what her name is in the synopsis on the flap either. I can't remember her name. I think the name that they're using in this book is Rossilla, but I can't remember for sure. It gives you, I don't know what those words mean, but it basically is like a list of the characters, kind of like how the actual play Macbeth would do. And this is based on Macbeth. Like I said in the last clip, I have not read Macbeth. I do not have any intention on reading Macbeth, but this is based on it. So I don't know how much this pulls from it and how much it varies. Actually, one of the reasons I didn't really like this was because I felt like I had to have read Macbeth in order to actually understand this and actually have a great time with it, because there was just so much going on and I wasn't really clear on why I was supposed to be caring. And so I wasn't caring about it at all. And I think where I left off with the plot last night was that this woman, Rossilla, is forced to marry Macbeth, who is a Scotsman. I think maybe they talked about it a little bit, about who he is and why he is important, at the beginning. I guess we can look at the person. It just tells me that he's the Thane of Glamis, whatever that is. Anyways, she's forced to marry him. She thinks that she can get away without sleeping with him until she gets her third gift that she requests from him. So she starts out and requests a ruby necklace. He comes back with a ruby necklace. She gives him her second request, which is a cape made out of 6 animals who have white fur. And the reason that's important is because one of the animals is a unicorn, and she thinks that he wouldn't dare kill a unicorn in order to make this cloak, but surprise, surprise, he does. And then he's supposed to wait for her third request to be fulfilled before he takes her to bed. He doesn't. And it's not surprising. Like, I actually found out that they did not just send away her handmaiden. They murdered her handmaiden. She had been dispatched. And in my brain, that meant that she was sent away. In the book, it meant she was murdered. And there are lots of things like that. I don't know if in the play, this will be a spoiler, so listen with caution if you don't want to know anything about this book. But I don't know if in the play, this Macbeth guy keeps a basement of wives that he's taken who are witches or not. I feel like I've heard something about witches when people talk about Macbeth, so maybe that's in it, but I'm not sure. That was a really surprising moment for me. I did not expect that. I actually texted my mom, who has read it already, and said every single one of these witches were his wives. And she was like, yes, they were. Yes, they very much were. And I think after that, I kind of checked out, which is sad because, like, this is something I should enjoy. It has all of the elements of books that I enjoy, but there's just something about this book that made me not care at all. So I think this is gonna go. I think it's gonna get passed on to somebody else, which is a shame because this copy is so beautiful. I feel like I say this with all of the books that I end up unhauling. The prettiest ones end up being the ones that I hate. Like the content. I hate the content, not the design. Like, look at that art style. That is incredible. Also, I'm sorry if I didn't do a very good job of explaining this book. I was not invested, as you can tell. You see, this is like her veil that she wears, because throughout the entirety of the book, she is wearing her bridal veil still. The insides are very pretty. This has some foil on it too. It's hard to show you. And then the ends. It's a very pretty book. I unfortunately was kind of anticipating that I wouldn't get to keep it because of my experience with A Study in Drowning. I'll give you a tiny little review of that one. The reason I did not like that one was because of the romance. I liked the overall plot line, but I hated the romance part of it, and that ended up being a huge part of the book. So these are the 3 that we read. Have The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow, which has become my favorite book from Alex, and honestly might be my favorite book of the year. We'll have to wait and see. There are 5 more months. Foul Days was very surprising, and it is part of a series, so while it wasn't my absolute favorite book of all time, I am going to hold on to it until I read the next one in the series and decide if I'm going to try and collect the entire series or not. And then Lady Macbeth will unfortunately be going. So those are the 3 we read. At this point, I'm pretty sure I have 5 left, not including the 2 horror books that I got from Owlcrate. Those are separated. I also wanted to say in my last Owlcrate vlog, I said I had like a bonus book, and it was, we call them witches, I was incorrect. That was an Evernight book, not an Owlcrate horror book. So if you are looking for that specific edition, do not look for Owlcrate, look for Evernight. I made a mistake. I should have just looked at the back of the book and seen that it said Evernight, but I did not. So with that, we will have probably two more Owlcrate vlogs. And I think in that time I might get one more Owlcrate book. I think I skipped it for August, but I'm not going to skip September, I'm pretty sure. I think. So we might have one more to add in with these books. Otherwise, I think that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this, please remember to press the little thumbs up button down below. And if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe. And I hope you're having a good time wherever you are. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.